This is Certified Sommelier John Alanis, and I want to welcome you to my new site, wholebottlereviews.com. So let me tell you why I created this site and why I went through the process to become a certified sommelier. I created this site because I just got a little sick and tired of all these what I call taste and spit reviews. I just don't think they capture the experience and the essence of wine, and I think they can be very misleading. They all sound the same, but they don't predict a wine experience. They don't tell you where the wine is going to go, and that's the reason we drink wine. If you read them after a while, they sound all the same, because a lot of these reviewers, I mean, they may be tasting hundreds of wines in a day, taste and spit, and taste and spit, and taste and spit, and even with a very fine wine, it just doesn't capture what the wine's all about. It's a tiny snapshot in a moment of time. It doesn't tell you where it's going to start and where it's going to go. I've had wines that I've tasted, man, I thought they were going to be great, and they just didn't go anywhere. I've also had wines that I tasted and this was, oh, that's a little shaky. That's a little bitter on the finish. I don't know about that. And then after a glass, wow, they just came to life and took me on a fantastic emotional journey. And so to me, wine is all about the experience, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how to have, in the way that I can, the ultimate wine experience, because I can't reiterate this enough. We drink wine for the experience, not for the taste, not for the aromas, not for the pleasant buzz. If we're drinking high-end, very good quality wine, we're doing it for that elusive experience. It may come around maybe a couple of times a year, even less. But when it does, wow, it's unforgettable, and you want to have it as often as you can. It's magic. Now wine, look, I was an avowed whiskey man before I got into wine. But wine is the only beverage that changes and evolves as you go through the entire bottle. With a bottle of fine wine, where you start and where you finish are two completely different places. The first sip and the last sip are completely different. And the other thing that the first time I had a really amazing wine experience is it just creeps up on you. You don't expect it to happen, but what happens is your mood begins to change. It begins to take you to a different place. You have memories from long ago that, come up. You remember the old stories. You just get this fantastic feeling for the few hours that you're going through the bottle that you're being taken to just a different place, and it gets better and it gets better and it gets better until the final sip, and then you always have that amazing memory. And look, let me tell you this, no taste and spit review can capture that. Like I said, some bottles start out great, some fade, some take a glass to get going, some catch you by surprise, and then just wow. Like I said, it's an undescribable experience. Most people only have a few wine experiences like that in their life. I want to help you have a lot more of them. Maybe 3 to 4 a year, because if every bottle is magical, then no bottle is magical. This is the rarefied air we're talking about that. But if I have a magical experience with a bottle of wine, and I tell you about my experience with it, the odds are that you're going to have a much higher probability of having a wonderful, fantastic, magical experience with that same bottle of wine. So let me tell you how my site works. Once a week, I'm going to do a whole bottle review for you. Not every day. I don't have that in me. Just once a week. And about 70% of the time, what I like to do is I want to pick one really good bottle, a couple $100 dollars at least, maybe more, that has a really high probability of being magic. It's not guaranteed, but it's got a great probability of doing so if the conditions are right. And later on in my videos, and if you join up with my email list, I'm going to show you how to set the conditions for an experience to creep up on you. You can't chase it, because if you chase it, you won't get it. But you set the conditions for unexperience to happen. Sometimes it's not the experience you thought or the experience you hoped, but it's a different type of magical wine experience, and those are the things that we want to have. So anyways, what I'll do is I'm going to do the video, I'm going to do it in 2 parts. I'm going to shoot one video where I tell you a little bit about the bottle of wine that I'm going to open, and there'll be a little bit of wine education in here, but we're not going to get caught up in acids and tannins and soils and aromas and tasting notes. I'll open up the bottle, in a very nice style, and then I'll give you my immediate sip and swallow review and tell you if I think this wine is going to go somewhere. And what you're going to laugh about is how wrong I am most of the time. Not all the time, but how wrong I am based on that review. There are some bottles, like I said, that I thought were going to go amazing places and nothing happened based on just tasting it. And then there were some that I had that, you know, I was, man, this thing doesn't have a chance. And then, wow, it just creeps up on you. I'll shoot a second video after where I tell you if I thought the wine was magical or not, if it brought me a great wine experience, and some others that I recommend from that same region. Because this kind of brings me to my second gripe with the wine industry, which is this: there's really no path, no introduction to different regions that have these magical bottles of wine. I got into French wine because I just heard that the French make great wine, and so I bumbled around in it. I heard the Italians made great wine, so I bumbled around in it. But there was no, hey, drink this bottle first. It's a great introduction to the region. Here's what to expect, then try these. If I did, I'd be much further along than I am today. And so 30% of the time, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drink a bottle that may be $70 or so. Maybe it's magical, but probably not. But it's a great introduction to a region. Most people in the U.S., heck, a lot of people worldwide, are kind of stuck in California cabs. And, look, I like my California cabs. There's some really amazing, remarkable ones. I got a couple right here, Schaefer Hillside Select. I got some Spotswood. There's some fantastic California cabs. But it's just a small snapshot of what's out there. There's some amazing Barolos from Piemonte, Brunello di Montalcino from Tuscany, fantastic Northern Rhones. I love my Bordeaux's, Burgundies, Australian wines. And so what I'm going to do 30% of the time is I'm going to pick a bottle that's a great introduction to the region. I'm going to go through the bottle, I'm going to tell you about it, and I'm going to tell you about the region, and then I'm going to make some recommendations, specific recommendations, for you to try from that region. Because the second part of the magic of wine is discovering bottles of wine from different regions that you never knew existed. I mean, I remember the first time I tried Brunello di Montalcino. I was like, what the heck is this stuff? All right, I'll give it a try. Wow, just amazing sour cherry, that kind of defined the wine, tomato leaf, and the wine changed and evolved in ways that I just had no idea a bottle could. And so that's what we're going to do about 30% of the time. And look, we're also going to have a lot of fun here. Like I said, I'm not going to get too involved in, the nomenclature of wine, the specific terms of that. Really what I'm going to do is we're going to have a lot of wine entertainment. We're going to have a lot of fun. And I'm just, in the end, going to tell you whether or not I think this bottle is magical or not. It's going to be a bottle that you're going to be either able to get easily, or you're going to be able to get one like it as an introduction to a region. And I will give you specific wine recommendations. I like to shoot a video for each one, but I'm a writer, so I'm going to write up, my experience with the wine too, and you'll have links that you can go to so you can choose, hey, this wine from Proprietary sounds really good. I'm going to try a bottle of Clos Mogador and see what happens. And that's not something you're going to get anywhere else. I'm going to give you specific pathways in the regions that I've found to be magical for wines for you to try. About 30% of the time we're going to do that. And then every now and then, if I'm in the mood or something, we might do some cool videos about high-end whiskeys or craft cocktails. Just a little bit of fun, kind of an old by-the-way thing. I mean, one thing I learned to get in the Certified Sommelier, this is the beverage industry, and you got to know everything. So I do still love my whiskeys, so we might do a little bit of fun whiskeys, some craft cocktails, that type of stuff. Now, what we're not going to do, we're not going to do any low-end stuff. I'm not going to do any grocery store wine or anything like that, because you're just not, if you're just looking for a buzz, that's particularly fine. If you're looking for an experience, we have to get into the fine wines. And I'll tell you this, I would rather have one amazing $200-300 bottle of wine a month than, 8 $30 bottles or something like that just aren't going to take me anywhere, and they're going to give me a righteous hangover. We're not interested in that. So I want this to be a community as well. So on every post that I put up, there's going to be a section for comments, and if you want to leave your feedback, your own magical bottle of experiences, that's how we really discover things from other people that have tried the same thing. That other people may have drank a bottle of something, that you can get an idea of, hey, I tried this, I didn't think it was ready yet, or hey, I tried this, wow, that really hit the spot. So I want to build a neat community with that too. So just leave your comments. I read them all. And together we're going to discover a lot of magical bottles of wine together. Now, one thing I would also like you to do is, if you look below, I would like you to join my whole bottle reviews email notification list. We're going to have a lot of fun with this too. And whenever I post a new whole bottle review, I'll email you and let you know. But when you join up, I've also got a long email sequence that I've written that's going to tell you my story about how I went from a whiskey guy who swore I would never get into wine, to going through the pretty arduous path to becoming a certified sommelier. And I'm going to tell you something very interesting. I've done a lot of interesting stuff in my life, and so this involves everything from being a part of the United States Submarine Force to interviewing with the CIA. That's not the Culinary Institute of America. That's the Central Intelligence Agency. I actually did that. To going on the journey to becoming a certified sommelier, and why that exam was actually more intense than all of those. So go ahead and enter your email address below, watch the video, read what I have to say, leave your comments, and as soon as I put something new up, which will be quite a bit, I'll let you know, and we're going to discover some magical bottles of wine together.